see, Jay, and we're supposed to use the mic apparently so we can capture it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
A lot of what you've touched on has to do with learning and teaching, but I was wondering if you could speak directly about innovative uses of gaming technology in education that you are aware of.
Well,
go ahead, Nora.
We actually took anybody ever play Neverwinter Nights? This was a long time ago. We took the Neverwinter Nights game engine. It was a kind of role-playing, I guess sort of a quest game, and we created our own city for our journalism class. We have an information strategies class, and so we set it up that you had to cover an anhydrous ammonia spill after a train accident, and you had to go around the city to interact with all these folks. And what was really interesting is the dialogue tree that was possible for having pretty complex interactions with people was interesting. The other game part was, you know, what you picked up or didn't pick up would later help you or not with the thing. So it was a real problem using the commercial game in a larger environment for teaching. So we've actually migrated the game to a thing called Thinking Worlds. Have you heard of Thinking Worlds yet? It's a simulation environment that was created sort of specifically for educational purposes, and you can download it's a pretty cheap license to be able to build. There's a lot of game, you know, the whole EduGame community has been doing a lot of cataloging of, you know, in English literature classes, you know, what games might be fun to use. And
I'll throw out what I think are database which actually have almost nothing to do with game technology. Big news story today, just came out today, so you can research it. A professor at Indiana University, Lee Sheldon, has decided not to give out grades anymore, and he switched to an experience points and leveling up system that he's convinced his university to let him use, and you complete missions and quests throughout the semester.
for what? For teaching area?
Points.
No, what teaching area?
He's in media.
Media.
Right, so it makes sense that he would be able to convince
Right.
him, I guess. But there's lots of news coverage about it today, and let me just tell you, on Twitter, the world is celebrating, as far as I can tell. I've seen thousands of people are going crazy. They love this. At a bigger scale, there's a whole charter school in New York City. Have you heard of Quest to Learn? Whole charter school in New York City. The entire
Katie Salen.
Katie Salen,
Yeah.
goddess, amazing woman game designer and educational pedagogist, theorist. But the whole school is based around game design, not playing games, but you know, designing boss levels instead of final exams, and more collaborative and more about finding your strengths than having to fix your weaknesses. And so I think we're gonna, it's the same idea. It's not just about technology, it's about the emotional heart of good game design and having that trickle in, and not just, you know, what we associate as 3D graphics and worlds and you know, avatars and stuff.
Yeah, great. Any final one here? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Today's been very interesting. I have a friend, a classmate, who decided to start his own firm called Minor Studios, and they have built a structure of a game for students to do those read-along books where you pick your ending, you know, flip to page 56 and read about this to get your ending. And it's for kids to unlock and build their own game. And inside the game, they build the story, and now he's selling it to schools. Do you see this type of programming for math or for other things?
I mean, I certainly think anything that makes education more engaging and creative will find a place in the classroom over the next decade. There's a great, I can't remember who first said it, but this phrase, engage us or enrage us, is sort of where we are with young people today, that they're so
Mark Prensky, probably.
Yeah, well, Prensky quotes it in the article.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where he got it from, but Mark Prensky has a great article about how kids are so used to being creative, active creators in the rest of the world, that when they show up in school and have to passively consume, that we can't fool them anymore and make them think that's actually educational compared to how much they're learning by creating stuff. So it seems like following in that train of thought, that such a technology would be great, not just in that area, but throughout to help with that.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you, Jane, a time to sort of do a wrap-up. So let me ask a final question, just based on the theme of the conference, which is, where do you think the next big disruptions, good or bad, from this technology will occur? Is it education? Is it, you know, municipal government? Is learning? Or
I think everything's been disrupted
I see.
already.
Okay.
I mean, it's mostly what they do to respond to the disruption and sees as an opportunity to really engage with whoever their constituencies are in entirely different ways. I mean, I know the one thing that has news organizations very excited is back to the panel. I mean, you know, the iPad coming out, that they really think that they can get back to having a newspaper layout, and that this will be the way to deliver it without the trucks and the trees and all that. And it remains to be seen whether it's going to be the big savior and everybody's going to love the format of the newspaper again.
Interesting new ways of interacting over mobile phones, but more tightly connected to the place you are, and perhaps sort of more connected to your entire body. And I think that will open just whole new realms of applications that we can't quite imagine yet, or I can't.
So this is not actually something we talked about too much today, but I think to expand on what we discussed, I see radical disruption in our ideas about quality of life, and the way we define happiness right now on the planet in terms of consumption, gross national product. It's not sustainable for 7 billion people. It's not equitable, and something that game designers are doing a lot of, as well as positive psychologists and many economists, is trying to figure out new ways to measure happiness and produce happiness from sustainable sources rather than from finite resources. I'm very interested in games as a source of sustainable happiness, so we have unlimited ability to enjoy ourselves, to feel rewarded, to feel motivated, to feel successful and connected to other people, as opposed to consuming finite resources. I think the virtual resources, but virtual goods economy shows that we could have an economy driven on making people sustainably happy through experience and success and social connection, and that would be enormously disruptive, but positive, I think.
Yeah, and on that happy note, let's thank our panelists here. Great job.